All right. Hi, this is Professor Satterwhite. We're with my good friend Haley Morrissette, and we're going to be talking about the novel Kindred. So, first, Haley, thank you for talking about this subject, and thank you for talking about this book. So, I wanted to talk to you because a while back you posted on social media about your love for this book. You just read the graphic novel, and after reading the graphic novel, you had a pretty interesting discussion about it. So, what made you want to post this homage to Octavia Butler and Kindred?
So it really started with me asking more deeper questions with myself. Like, most of us are going to come from a mixed heritage background and different races, and I feel a particular connection. To my Black ancestors, but I've never really felt that same connection with any white ancestors. Black ancestors, it could be people that I can't even name, and I still feel like a particular connection, like a calling connection with them. I've never felt that way. So my question on social media, I believe it was really, do you ever feel a connection to your white ancestors? And what does that feel like for you? And so that's really what prompted me, because I was just really having a deeper thinking in my bed on a Saturday.
And what were the responses?
There were several responses. A lot of what I actually saw was people kind of saying that the ancestors that would be coded as white, that they did feel a connection to, were not American white ancestors. It was back further heritage back.
Prior to them immigrating here?
Yeah, prior to immigration, prior to when we actually created the label of whiteness, which really came out of a lot of Europeans coming over, and then we haven't that here in America, because we had to have that racial hierarchy, basically. And that's what a lot of people were saying. And then there were even people who were like, well, we raise our ancestors up. So if we don't feel a particular connection to some of them because they did some misdeeds, then that's just what it is. It is what it is on that one. So there was a lot of really great things. And even people who mentioned, and they told stories about their white ancestors, and they were white people that said it, there was never mention of having a deeper spiritual connection to them. And when I say that, of course, I mean a spiritual connection that would literally pull you into the past, which is what we see in Kindred. Yeah.
So what first drew you to Kindred?
So I started off reading a different Octavia Butler series, the Pattern Master series, which I'm a huge fan of afrofuturism. And it was just after I ended the series, Google Play Books was like, hey, you should read this. It's a really, it's one of the most compelling, one of the ones that a lot more people really love by Octavia Butler. So I was like, oh, why not? Let me read it. And that was about 6 years ago that I read it. And then I came across the graphic novel a year ago and decided to revisit it. And revisiting that and seeing the actual illustrations and things really gave me another twist on it. Kendrick already shook me, but having the graphic novel there and seeing those things laid out in pictures and almost being able to see moving pictures, it shook me. It was shook.
Well, do you think it's important to have slave narratives like this?
I do. I think it's absolutely important.
Why?
Because also I feel like it does actually inform the future for us and the present.
How does it inform the future?
Well, we see a lot. So, of course, like I said, this is called afrofuturism. Being able to have a time-traveling black girl that can be pulled back simply because she has an ancestor that's in danger, that's a superpower, even though it landed her back in slavery. It's still a superpower, right? But being able to see those types of things, we can even say hypothetically, in what ways do we have our ancestors or those that we have connection to pulling us back to old traditional ways, and how does it help us in the future? Like right now we're seeing issues with climate change and things like that, right? Those of us who may have indigenous roots and things like that, how do our ancestors pull us back in order to inform us on what we need to do better for the future? Should have been listening to indigenous people the whole time, but here we are, and there are those of us that still feel that connection, and we let that pull us back to better inform us in the future. So the same thing with slave narratives, right? We see the way that people have been treated, and the ways that we can actually be informed on the psyche, I guess, of racism and things like that. And how does that help us go forward in race and reconciliation going forward into the future? So that's what I mean by that. Yeah.
Well, in the story, as you know, one of the characters is white, and in Dana, Kevin is white and Dana is black. They're married in the 1970s. Why do you think that Octavia Butler chose an interracial couple? And maybe how would it be different if the couple wasn't interracial?
Right. So first of all,
it's just your opinion.
If the couple wasn't interracial, Kevin would have got knocked off in the beginning. Like, that's it. I'm just saying, if two black folks show up at this stage, the first person they knock it off is a black man, honestly and truly, because he's like, wait, you can't be talking to my wife like this, like, because Kevin was about it, right? But we made Kevin white so that we can, I say we, I love Octavia, but in my opinion, I think she made him white so that she can flex that privilege, and kind of show that privilege and those dynamics that even back then he was able to have. And then going forward, even him coming back, it was almost seeing him as this, racism's here, but it's not that bad, and then him having to be put into the middle of it in its height, and in all of its discrimination, and him being able to say, okay, he had to get pulled to a more leftist leaning almost area in his life through having to deal with it, and how easily it could have been normalized, but he had to shake it off as much as possible in order to love still. So
well, by her constantly returning back into slavery and Butler writing about that, what do you think that says about and also the bicentennial is taking place? What do you think that Butler's trying to say about slavery?
So a lot of, I feel, Kindred is kind of a prequel to like Get Out, right?
The movie Get Out?
Yes, the movie Get Out, which we know is the psyche of being put into this place. But what Octavia Butler does is she pulls back and forth because she keeps letting her get out, but it's like teasing her. Like, you're always going to be in oppression. That's just going to be a thing.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Haley. This is a great interview.